From a small pier at the harbour's edge, Gregory Keene resumes with another chapter of the story. They murdered Evelyn Channel. Someone she trusted took her out of the Poinsettia Club unseen, brought her to this little bay called Camp Cove, and strangled her. Casually, almost as a gesture of contempt for the forces we could bring to bear against the NightShade ring. Well, there are two men who could have taken her out of the club, and two men only. Nick Barnes and Felix Huberman himself. So we're going into action once again. The ambulance is gone. The reporters have gone. The men who found her body floating in the water have gone. The doctor's gone. It's only a couple of hours or so to dawn. Murray and I are here at the cove.
You might as well get moving, Keene.
Yes, I expect so.
What time does the Poinsettia close?
Go when it empties. Say about 5.
Jump into the car. We'll get another call out for Nick Barnes. You shouldn't have far to look for him. This radio's been slightly on the blink. I hope they fixed it. Murray to Central. Murray to Central. You getting me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Send a car to the Poinsettia Club and locate Nicholas Barnes, known as Major Gregory Keene. 29, dark hair, brown eyes, 5'11", English accent, slightly cleft chin. Known to all the club staff. If they miss, try a house belonging to Felix Huberman, 27 Millhoff Street, Bellevue Hill. If they miss there, too, see what they can find out. I want him at Phillip Street.
Any muscle?
No muscle.
Check.
Who's that, Jackson?
Crankshaw.
Well, listen, Crankshaw, this is urgent. And beat it in with the club. This chap Barnes must be addressed as Major Keene. Nothing else. I'll tell you what, when you call your car, don't mention Barnes at all. Got that? The fellow is Major Keene, nothing else.
Check.
All right. Murray to Central and out.
Where's our next stop?
Phillip Street. I'll drop you there. If by any chance Barnes doesn't want to come along, I'll have to go after him myself. But I don't think I will.
Neither do I.
Well, here we go. Give me a fag, will you?
I'm glad you stayed up, Carlotta. I picked up an early edition on the way through town.
Poor little Evelyn. She made the front page, but she had to die to do it.
Yes, but that's not all. On page 12, I think it is. Something else. There you are.
Well. I look rather nice, don't you think, Felix?
Always were photogenic, my dear.
Have you seen Barnes since?
The fool went straight back to the Poinsettia to drink himself silly. I could have cut his throat.
I hope you caught him in time.
I sent him home with Benny. He's all right now. But in a few hours, I'll be seeing him off for Singapore.
But the police will be calling on him before that. I wish you could be there, too.
If it looks as though I'm holding his hand, it simply wouldn't do. The chap can't break down. Even Barnes has more regard for his neck than that.
Well, just the same, I think we should change our original plans for Nicky. Not much, but just a little.
Oh, what respect?
We were going to bring him back here from Hong Kong and attend to him for his homecoming.
I see no reason to alter the arrangements.
Now, how much safer it would be if Nicky did not get back to Australia at all?
Barnes has to be left alive long enough to board that ship bound from Singapore to Hong Kong. He has to board it twice, once as Keene, once as himself.
But does he have to leave Hong Kong? How easily people can be got out of the way at places like Hong Kong, especially these days, Felix, when the East is in such a turmoil.
Who do you suggest we should send?
I thought of Martin Gauss. He is the most cosmopolitan of our lieutenants, and he did such tidy work on Maxim in Rome, and poor Rupert boys.
Yes, I think that could be arranged. Of course, the thing about Gauss is he can always give the Department of External Affairs such convincing reasons for traveling.
With your help, Felix.
As you say, with my help.
So I think Martin Gauss should be at Hong Kong, waiting to give Nicky a warm welcome. Oh, it is hateful, Felix, arriving at a strange city and not being met. We don't want Nicky to feel lonely, do we?
Oh, no, we couldn't possibly have that.
So I shall draw the shades and sleep late this morning. I shall sleep better than I have for days. You had better leave now and get some sleep yourself. They will want to talk to you, too, about Evelyn Channel, however tactfully they do it. Good night, Felix. Wish Nicky Barnes a bon voyage for me, will you? And see that he is comfortable on the plane. Flying can be such a bore, can't it?
Sit down there, Barnes, on the other side of the desk.
What's the idea?
Let Major Keene ask the questions, will you, Barnes?
Yes, but hang it, you drag a chap out of bed at 4:30 in the morning. Look, for 2 pins, I'd have told your patrol car to go to the depot.
Where were you tonight, Barnes, between 9:30 and, say, 1 o'clock?
I went home to Huberman's place rather late. 8:30, I expect. I wasn't peckish in town, but after a couple of gin and tonics, I was ravenous. I told Mrs. Rose.
Mrs. Rose?
Oh, she's Huberman's housekeeper, don't you remember, Murray?
Oh, yes, of course. All right, go on.
I told Mrs. Rose to fix me with dinner. She took a rather poor view. She made a lot of pointed remarks about people being able to telephone if they wanted late dinners, then went out into the kitchen and banged things.
What time did you dine?
Well, the old score didn't hurry herself any. I sat down about, 9:30.
9:30, eh? What time did we get that call at the Cunningham Towers, Murray? About Evelyn not going on the floor at the poinsettia.
10:05.
All right, Barnes, carry on.
I was a bit peeved at Mrs. Rose, so I decided she could jolly well wait to clear up. I sat around over coffee and brandy till, I suppose it was about 10:30.
And what then?
I called a cab by phone.
Cab or hire car?
A hire car, a consul. I always use consuls. By 11, I was at the poinsettia. I stayed there till well after 3, when Huberman showed up and whizzed me off with Benny.
Word perfect.
Too perfect.
Now, what about telling me the score?
Look, Barnes, someone enticed Evelyn Channel out of the Poinsettia Club by the back entrance last night. They took her to Camp Cove, strangled her, and threw her into the harbor. We found her just after 3. The doctor said she'd been in the water between 4 and 5 hours.
Evelyn? Strangled?
She was on a guard. She wouldn't have gone with anyone but you or Huberman.
She didn't go with me. You can ask Mrs. Rose and Frank at the Poinsettia Club bar. You can't pin this on me, Keene. I was fond of Evelyn.
Not as fond as you are of your own life.
I shouldn't even listen to you. And I'm leaving for Singapore in a few hours' time. I don't know a thing about it, Keene. I swear I don't.
Go into the next room and wait.
You have to believe me. You can ask any of the people I told you. I didn't go near the poinsettia till just on 11, and before that I was at Huberman.
Just get out of here and wait.
He's been well primed, and he knows we'll check on it all. Mrs. Rose, Huberman, the lot.
Yes. If it was Barnes, Mrs. Rose is his alibi. He could have got from the Poinsettia to Camp Cove and back in tons of time to call that hire car.
We have to decide right now what we're going to do. We're going to hold him as Major Keene, or hold him as Nick Barnes, or we're going to let him head for Singapore today.
We'll never crack his alibi in a few hours, and I still don't want to show my hand to Huberman. Oh, I say, let him go now, but keep contact with him.
You sure about this? It's going to look pretty bad if we finally pin this thing on Barnes after we've let him go halfway around the world.
Whoever we pin it on, Felix Huberman is the chap behind it. It's Felix Huberman I'm after, Murray. And I'll get him one day if I have to follow him to the moon.
All right. We tell Barnes to hop it.
Come in there, Barnes. Now, you listen to me, fellow. You're going to Singapore, but you'll be shadowed. And we'll have a man on the boat to Hong Kong with you, and we'll have men waiting to see you on the plane back here.
If I don't get back here, Keene, you're going to hear from a man called Mendel. But you can't possibly think that
Who do you think you're acting for, Barnes? You're coming back here and you're going to carry out your orders. And one day Oh, all right, Murray, get him out of here.
The patrol car will drive you back to Huberman's, that's all. And if your story doesn't check with Mrs. Rose's, you won't be on any plane to Singapore. Now get out of here. Now, Keene, Huberman's on his way up.
Good.
You step into the next room, Keene, and listen. Leave it slightly ajar. Come in. Oh, hello, Huberman.
Hello, Murray. I know what you want. Your message didn't say, but it's this appalling show about Evelyn Channel.
What do you make of it?
I can't understand her leaving the club like that. I can't imagine what's behind it.
She obviously left the club with someone she knew. Look here, Felix. I've had Major Keene up here. I had to. He's been seeing more of the girl than anyone else.
That's all right. You don't have to apologize for a job to me.
Well, that makes it easier. You see, old chap, I have to... Oh, well, hang it all. Where were you last night?
Are you actually serious?
Confounded man, she was strangled. That's an accomplished fact. And she sneaked out of the club with someone she knew well and trusted.
Yeah, it's all right. I was with friends from just before 9 till about...
Where?
Till about 2.
Where?
The embassy. I was at the charity do with Carlotta Mananes of Peter and Lady Fox Johnson, Titus and Fennesy Green, and Maxwell Burton's. Party of age, rather raw. As a matter of fact, here we all are in the morning papers. The photographer came around about 10 last night. Can't you see it?
I think I would.
And here we are, page 12.
Hmm.
I don't generally go about strangling showgirls. As for Evelyn Channel, it just about lets me out. Doesn't it, Murray?
Yes, I'm afraid it does. It lets you out completely.
In the 5 hours since we found Evelyn Channel, we've checked Barnes' alibi and found it watertight. We've learned why the NightShade Ring's strong-arm men were all at Gregerson Street together. And now, not 6 feet from me, Felix Huberman is not even troubling to hide his mirth while Murray looks at his cast-iron defense. I think the time has very nearly arrived. Soon now, I'm coming out of the shadows.
Sergeant Cutts is offered a job in the next chapter of this story of intrigue, Deadly Nightshade.